But it was just really powerful for me because it's like you plan everything else.
Yeah.
Everybody else gets room on your calendar.
Yeah.
You taking the kids to soccer.
Yeah.
You got a doctor's appointment. It goes on your calendar. If you're a type A personality like I am, everything goes on your calendar.
If it's not on the calendar, it does not happen.
If it's not on the calendar, it doesn't exist. Self-care has to go on your calendar.
Yeah, it does.
It has to. It has to literally be like, and for
welcome to another episode of the Sisterhood Debrief, where we discuss all things
sisterly,
godly,
and ratchet.
Okay, girl.
What's up, y'all?
How y'all doing?
How you doing? I'm doing okay. How are you?
I'm good.
Really?
Yeah.
It's been a long week, but
okay.
I can't complain.
That's good. My week has been, I don't know, kind of flew by actually. Yeah, my week kind of flew by, surprisingly. Mm-hmm. It did not feel as crazy or as long as normal work weeks.
I took Monday off and my week still felt long. So.
Actually, those be the longest weeks. Does anybody else realize that? It's like when you have a day or two
like
off of work.
Holiday break.
Yes.
Or like if you take a mental health day, which is what I was trying to do. Mm-hmm. And it was great. I went and got a prenatal massage. And then nice. I was supposed to be in bed all day, but I ended up having, I think me and Chris went and got lunch, and then I laid in bed for the remainder of the day. But, it was really nice. And then the next day, that evening, I couldn't go to sleep. Could not go to sleep. And I didn't sleep in, but I couldn't go to sleep. And the next day, I woke up extremely tired. So it kind of carried from day to day. For the rest of the week, I was like, well, so much for that.
That's like, defeats my plan.
Yep. It was kind of pointless. But I needed
not a massage.
The massage was amazing. And I immediately scheduled another one before leaving.
Yeah, getting massages never a waste.
Never.
Feel amazing.
Yep. So that was cool. But
yeah.
That was it for the week.
That was always long weeks though.
So we're gonna kick off this episode with what we know how to do best: act the fool. And that means we want to know, what would you rather do? Yeah. So, would you rather? Trying to find it. Would you rather be able to take back anything you say or hear any conversation that is about you?
Oh, that's easy. I need to know what the people are saying. I need to know. I got to know. I'm very careful with my words already. It's just who I am as a person. So if I said something, I meant it. So
y'all remember that now. When sis come back and be like,
well,
I'm sorry.
If I say something, for the most part, I mean it. It's very few occasions that I can think of.
Yeah.
And that is literally when my emotions are crazy. So that really only impacts people who are super close to me. So at this point in life, my mom, my sister.
Yeah.
And they know, they'd be like, girl, here goes the Snickers. Because when you hungry.
I actually can. I think I can agree with that, because I don't think anytime we've ever had to have serious conversations, I feel like you've thought about what you need to say.
Yeah.
And then you say it, and then it comes off the way you mean for it to come off.
Yeah.
So I don't think I've ever taken anything that you said wrong or personally, or if I have, I've been able to reflect on it and be like, okay, here's where I could have done X, Y, or Z. So you might be right.
I really do think about I'll be practicing in the shower when I'm about to say somebody, because I rarely blow up. This is not my personality. Unless
I forgot you're a Virgo.
You really have taken me there. But at this point, I have bullet points of things that I'm going to bring up.
Yeah.
So I can feel it happening. So I've already practiced the argument in the shower at least 10 times before it's happened.
Okay.
So I got every response that you could possibly have. I already have a comeback for it.
Oh, okay. So analytical. So the Virgo versus the Sagittarius here, who's very emotionally inclined and has the tendency to say a lot of things that I mean to say, but maybe didn't mean to harm you in the way in which you were harmed.
Right.
But I would want to hear what people saying about me too, because I just feel like some people, in my spirit, just on a regular day-to-day basis, I'm like, what are they saying about me?
You ever like walked into a room and you could just feel that the people was talking about you?
Like, oh, y'all can continue the conversation, please.
Oh, what was y'all talking about? That's my favorite thing. It's like, oh, what's going on here? What y'all laughing about?
No, seriously, because and when people ask me like, what superpower you want to have, I'm always like, I want to be able to read people's minds, because what you thinking, sis, bro? Like, yeah, what's the real deal? Because a lot of people hold back. They do, for fear of whatever, even if they just don't want to have conflict. But especially if you're supposed to be somebody who's like close to me, cool with me,
real friend.
I don't have time to be, Lord, thank you for your discernment, but I don't really have time to be trying to lean into discernment. I just need to know immediately.
I need to know. I need concrete evidence so I can be like, well, it was nice knowing you.
And I have no problem apologizing for it. I don't want to take back what I said, because more than likely you needed to hear what I said. Yeah. I probably shouldn't have said it when I was in such high emotions, or maybe I shouldn't have said it in the way that I said it. Right. Maybe I could have used a few less choice words. Right. But what I said was what I said, and probably exactly what I wanted to communicate. Yeah. And I can apologize for the way it came off later. I've been in instances like that plenty of times where I've had to have conversations with people and they're like, well, you did this or you said that, and it made me feel, I'm sorry it made you feel that way, but it probably is something that I have been thinking about, especially if I just blurted it out. Yeah,
I've definitely been thinking about it. It's not just a random thought in my mind. I've definitely thought about it. So yes, I would rather know what the people are saying about me. So y'all let us know in the comments. What would you rather? Would you rather take back
everything you said,
like
something that you said that was wrong,
or hear what people are saying about you? Let's have a conversation.
Let us know.
And say why. I kind of want to know why.
Yeah, it gotta be there has to be a why to it, guys. Like,
I'm just that type of person. I'm a why asker. Let me know. I just love learning about people's minds and like how people process and think about different things. Yeah. So
cool. So what are we talking about today?
I know. So we talking about self-care, which I was about to bring up. I was like, you talked about getting massages this week and taking a mental health day.
Because sis was about to quit the job.
No.
I'm so tired of this church. I'm tired of this church. No. To all my coworkers who may support and listen to the podcast. Right. I enjoy working with you guys, but y'all already know that teaching is not my end all be all. And I've been here about 5 to 7 years too long. And it's time to go. Yeah. But yeah, it's been very stressful. So I took a day, and I think I know I mentioned to you, but there is someone who I work very closely with that is leaving the job and is actually going to have a pretty high impact on me and the kids that I serve. Yeah. So I was like, I'm about to use this PTO before, sis makes her exit.
I know, that's right.
Just so I can prepare my mind for what it looks like to not have her here and to be transitioning into working with somebody else. So not only did I take Monday, but I have decided that every prenatal visit that I'm going to have is going to be a full day. I was taking half days to try to preserve. Yeah. But listen, FMLA just going to have to come through for maternity leave, because I'm about to use all the PTO that I can. I
don't blame me. I don't like doing half days. Yeah. Either I'm coming to work or I'm not.
It's pointless. It's pointless at this point, because now I don't have the opportunity to actually I'm just taking the day because I have to do something versus because I actually really need to do it and I want to enjoy it. So, okay, doctor's visit in the morning, the rest of the day I can do whatever, lay. Especially if the doctor's visit don't go right, I gotta go back to work. Like,
it's on your mind, right? Yeah. Can't even focus,
right? So self-care is essential, but it's become a little bit cliche.
Yeah, like lately. Everything on Instagram, every other post is about self-care. Like, girl, buying that purse is not self-care.
Some people think size shopping is self-care now.
To an extent,
therapeutic.
It can be therapeutic, but if that is your excuse for overindulging, like that's not self-care. At that point, you're being detrimental to yourself, and self-care cannot be the band-aid to it all. And maybe people are starting to use self-care, like the word self-care, to make their actions or what they choose to do acceptable. Yeah. Like, it's in the name of self-care. So you can't come for me. Like, you can't say anything because this is what I need for self-care. When it might not be really self-care.
Yeah. I think that just like words like toxic,
cancel
culture, like all of these words have become really like catchphrases, especially in the age of social media, where people are capitalizing off of it. So in my mind, it's like, okay, you're a self-care coach, so you're charging people.
Can we pause? What is a self-care?
I don't know.
Let me tell you, y'all throw coach on anything at this point. Like, anything. Y'all making up coaches.
I understand being a coach for like a skill set. Hello, literary coach. I am teaching you a skill of writing. Yeah, but just there are some things. Self-care, like, please go Google. Just go. You can Google the writing for all I care. Shoot, like Google.
But certain things you can Google, but you're paying for my research and my expertise. But self-care coach, what are you teaching me?
I'm teaching you how to value self. It's almost like going to see a therapist, but I feel like because of, again, the age of social media, we've become very desensitized to this idea of the real foundational need for self-care, versus I'm doing this because it's popular to do and because this ad came up on my feed, so I'm going to check this freebie out and then get caught up in maybe like a coaching program or a mentorship to teach me how to take care of myself, and then turn around and use that as an opportunity to manipulate your way into getting out of things. Yeah. And I feel like it shouldn't come off the way I'm saying it. It kind of feels like it's coming off like you don't care about people's self-care. No, absolutely do. As an educator, as a therapist, I truly care about people's self-care. I just want to make sure like self-care is being effectively applied to your life and not just haphazardly thrown out there because you honestly don't know how to take care of yourself and you're just using stuff like shopping
or anything because I slept in today. And or every day you sleep in. Yep. And now it's become, this is my routine of self-care.
Which honestly could be a sign of depression.
Could be depression. Or it could be that, you might be a little lazy.
No, facts.
I mean, it's just, we cannot.
Facts.
We have just turned into a world where words become popular. And I think self-care is important. Like true self-care, taking care of yourself. I'm a person, I have one day off a month for mental health. I use my PTO. I don't believe in saving it. I probably have the most PTO I've ever had at my company now because of the pandemic. Yeah. Because I could still
work from home without having
to, do what I need to do without having to take time. Yeah. But, I believe in taking care of yourself, and self-care is very important. Self-care can definitely help you come out of depression. Yeah. Stay out of depression. Yes. Self-care is important, and I think it's vital and a very important part of your toolbox for your overall health. Yeah. But at what point do you say this really isn't self-care?
When does it become more intentional than just like a passive thing to say or engage in? Yeah. I think that because even now, like, we have to almost explain, which you don't. So if somebody's making you do this on your job, you definitely can contact HR. Yeah, but you almost have to explain like why you're taking a day off. And number one, it's because the idea of being overworked is American culture. Like work. Sleep until I die used to be the thing. Like, I'm not gonna not sleep until I die.
I can sleep when I die.
I'll sleep when I'm dead. That used to be a whole thing.
I was listening to a sermon this past week. I don't know if it was from this week or 2 weeks ago at the Union Church that's in Baltimore. And he was like, sleep until you die. You must not have the favor of God on your life. Because that's even Jesus rested. Even God rested
many times. God rested. He absolutely did.
So if you only sleep when you die, you don't got the favor of the Lord on your life.
And that is literally like the world we kind of live in. So I absolutely understand the over usage of the concept of self-care. But when you're having to explain the need for the self-care to other people, I just feel like it should be explained in a way to where they understand if you are explaining, because again, you don't have to do that.
That's your job.
But if you're explaining it, it should be explained in a way to where they understand, like, oh, absolutely, especially because what you've already given us has been extremely valuable,
right?
Not like you doing the bare minimum. And again, there are extenuating circumstances for people who might do the bare minimum on a day-to-day basis, which is where therapy comes in.
Exactly.
But if you are just lazy and you just doing stuff to get by, and then you taking all of these mental health days, that's why a lot of times it becomes desensitized, because the overusage and the non-intentionality behind it, or unintentionality behind utilizing PTO, or just taking a day to rest because you ain't really done nothing. Not that you have to do something to deserve self-care. I'm trying not to come off like you got to be overworked in order to get the self-care.
No.
It just needs to be intentional. It's almost like love languages. Like, if you are trying to show somebody that you love them, you don't just show them in a way that's convenient. Right. You don't just show them in a way that is, meaningful to just you as the person giving the love. Like, you show love to others in a way that's meaningful to them. So how are you already showing love and care to yourself, your body, your spirit, your mind, in a way to where when you're actually taking your days, they are meaningful, they're impactful. It's something like, is long overdue, versus, or not necessarily even long overdue, but that it is like purposeful in this moment, versus haphazardly doing something. I don't know. I don't know how this is coming across, but that's how it's coming up in my mind. So
it's almost like self-care is taking care of yourself, and it's almost like a recharge. It's like a battery. Like, you plug your phone back up at the end of the day. Even if your phone never died or depleted during the day from your regular usage of it, you still plug it up at the end of the day for it to charge, so it can be ready for the next day. That's kind of how I look at self-care. Even if I'm not fully depleted, I still need to charge myself back up to operate as my best self in every area of my life. But I'm not going to do something that is going to make me feel bad the next day. I'm going to regret in 2 weeks or anything like that, because that doesn't really add to my self-care overall. It might have felt good in that moment, but overall, like when you are overspending or even overindulging in food, like I used to be that way. Like, self-care, if I had a good day or even a bad day, I'm about to go treat myself to eat and a drink. And I'm paying for that now with my health. When I have to now do backwards work to fix the damage that I caused myself. So it might have felt good in the moment, because I love trying new restaurants, but was it worth it in the long run? Is it truly self-care at that point? Absolutely. If it's ruining the longevity of your life?
And so I guess that actually makes it, you said something that makes me able to maybe say what I was trying to say in a better way. Like, not waiting until your battery is depleted, because that's when you start haphazardly doing stuff that could be just counterproductive later on. Waiting until you literally are about to, lose your mind or do the thing, making it intentional, like scheduling it, like you said, once a month. I know I need a mental health day from work, and if you have the PTO to do that, then absolutely. Or even something as simple as one or every other Saturday, or especially for entrepreneurs, those who work like 9 to 5s, like us, and then have to do entrepreneurial stuff in the evenings or on the weekends. Maybe there is like one Saturday or every other Saturday where you don't take clients, or you don't do anything. There's intentional time with your family, so it's not like you're trying to run a race that you can't catch up in because you're constantly falling behind already. That's where the desensitization of it comes in, because you're not making it a priority already, and making it an intentional one at that, to the point where when it does happen, it's very just unplanned or haphazardly planned. So that makes a lot of sense. Not waiting until you're literally about, to cuss out your boss and potentially lose your job.
Like, don't wait to that moment. And like I said, you have to be intentional about what self-care is for you.
Yes.
Just because for me, it's having a bubble bath and reading a book and drinking a glass of wine. That might not recharge. Nice. That might not recharge you.
No, it won't. Not for me. That's extra work. I got to run the bath. I gotta pour. I'm just kidding.
I gotta pour my own wine.
I gotta read a book. I'll be reading books all day at work. But no, that's real, because I think for me it's really literally allowing my body to rest, because I'm always moving.
Yeah, you are a very busy person. Let me tell you.
But even aside from just literally busy, my job requires that I be on my feet all day.
Right. Yeah.
I can go a full 8 hours. We work more than 8 hours, but I can go a full 8 hours and not sit down. That's probably not healthy in this point in this season, but I mean, I'm not working out. So, and maybe it's helpful. But I can literally be on my feet all day. So for me, it is coming home, laying in bed, and not getting up to an alarm clock. If I can turn off alarms for the day and lay in bed and Netflix and chill and have a glass of wine postpartum, then my life is legitimately set.
So would you describe that as your perfect day? A life with waking up, no alarm, just relaxing?
Absolutely. And it's literally like, it's almost, sometimes it's a catch-22 for me, because it's like, people can be like, oh, so the other day, and again, this is nothing to anybody, but one of my lawn sisters reached out to me and was like, oh, we need to catch up. What you doing during fall break? Like, I don't want to do nothing. I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to do anything. But of course, like, we made plans to meet up. But essentially, if I don't have to do something, if I don't have to go somewhere, I'm good, because I'm always going somewhere.
Right.
And that's even down to Sundays, because, we travel for church. So just being able to lay in bed, chill, watch TV, fall asleep if I feel like it, wake up when I feel like it.
Right.
I just, that is my perfect day.
Yep. I think that a good exercise, I'm going to challenge our listeners, our viewers to, is really think about what the perfect day is for you.
You meant literal exercise? I'm like,
I'm not gonna make y'all work out. But really think about what a perfect day is to you. What would be your ideal day? Yeah. And that probably is going to help you figure out what self-care is for you.
Yeah.
Some people
makes it more intentional.
Yeah, will make it more intentional, and where you will really feel recharged. Because self-care is, you have to take care of yourself before you can really take care of others. It goes back to the concept of being on an airplane. They tell you to put on your oxygen mask first before you help other people. And that's the same thing with self-care. You have to pour into yourself. You have to be intentional about that for you to show up for other people, whether it be work, husband, boyfriend, child, mother, sister, whoever in your life, you have to show up. You have to pour into yourself first before you can really pour into others and not be depleted.
Yeah.
You don't want it to, you helping everybody else, so every day you end with a dead battery.
Yeah.
So I think it's important that you figure out what recharges you and really go from there.
And sometimes, and to take it back to the self-care coach, sometimes you might not know what that is, because that is a thing, right? Because you give so much to other people, maybe you don't know what you need.
Right.
Again, self-care coach X, maybe, but I've done things like self-care retreats. I've done
I agree with that.
Weekend retreats that incorporate, if I'm going to spend money, I'm going to spend money on something that is going to allow me to apply what I'm learning.
Yeah.
So recently I spoke at a self-care retreat and they gave not just the tips of self-care, they had a whole mental health panel.
Oh, that's nice.
But then they did stuff they had a pajama party. They had a little recharging room. They had opportunities to go for a hike or sleep in if you wanted to, depending on the day and whatever the schedule was. So if I'm going to pay somebody to teach me to do something, absolutely, invest in understanding what you need, what works for you. Invest in the professionals. Again, the mental health panel, they were all LPCs, so licensed professional counselors, are a marriage and family therapist. I think there was one marriage and family therapist on there. So invest in counselors and people who are uniquely trained to do this work. And that's not to say that coaches are not necessarily trying to do the work or the healing work or the work to position you to take care of yourself.
Right.
I just feel like as a coach, I know what I charge. and your insurance ain't gonna pay for it. Right. So like if you have the opportunity to increase your knowledge about who you are and what you need as far as like sustainability, then use the resources you kind of already have to get that knowledge, right?
So I agree. And some of it starts with doing the work yourself. Yeah. And we have to trust ourselves in God to really show us that we have way more power than we realize. And we are very, sometimes as humans, we can just be limiting to ourselves and be like, well, this person claims to be an expert and I'm struggling in this area. Instead of you sitting down and be like, let me journal, let me do a little bit of work on my own to see how I can get here versus we're quick to just throw money at somebody who's labeled as an expert. And again, it's not to knock that, even though I really find that interesting. And I feel like it's a conversation for another day about the influx of coaches without proper training. I'm gonna say that because I think coaching is good, having a therapist is good, but these people need to have some type of certification. You wouldn't take your car to a mechanic who didn't have a license, who wasn't a certified mechanic. Like you're not driving a Mercedes or a BMW, taking it to, a Honda dealership for service. You want somebody who specializes in what you need. So, but it's like self-care is also doing the work. I posted on Instagram earlier this week, and it was I love myself enough. I invest in self-care enough because I want to grow. Self-care is not just staying stagnant where I am, because so many people do that. Like, well, this is self-care, so I'm good right here because it's comfortable. Growth is uncomfortable, to be honest, but growth is inevitable. Everything has to grow. So self-care should also be you putting in the work. It's just not always relaxation and rose petals and stuff like that. Sometimes self-care is I love myself enough, I care about myself enough today and in the future that I'm going to put in the work right now to see the fruits I want to see of life. It's going to be hard, but we have to. I think self-care is really sold as bubble baths and candles, and it's way more than that. It's to the point where, like we said, it's desensitized. Like we see the word self-care and doesn't really mean anything beyond what the person's trying to sell us or tell us. And I don't know. I think it's really to our detriment because it's allowed us to not grow.
Yeah, I agree. And I just feel like the more we make it intentional, the more people will respect it. And the less likely people are to try to get over on you to try to teach you what it is. And the less likely it is that you won't find value in it yourself. Like when you do it, it will be enough. It'll be enough because you've created a consistent habit and also one that is effective for what you literally need. So when I think about it, I think about, again, same self-care retreat, but this was the one from the year before where the host said, she said something and I took it and it stuck with me, but then I also used it for like, some of my literary coaching and just kind of switched the wording, but it was just really powerful for me because it's like you plan everything else. Everybody else gets room on your calendar. You taking the kids to soccer. You got a doctor's appointment. It goes on your calendar. If you're a type A personality like I am, everything goes on your calendar.
If it's not on the calendar, it does not happen.
If it's not on the calendar, it doesn't exist. Self-care has to go on your calendar.
It does.
It has to literally be like, and for me, I can only speak for myself, but I encourage you to consider this for you as well. I can't just put self-care day on a Saturday.
No.
Because if somebody comes to me and says, hey, let's go, or can you come and help me with X, Y, Z? I will see that. And I'm like, oh, I can move it to another day because it's just like, it's nothing really planned. No, ma'am, self-care day. And here is my itinerary.
Right.
I have a whole itinerary, like,
that's good.
Of when, not necessarily when I plan to wake up, but when I wake up, what am I doing? Like, because I've thought about this and I've been wanting to do it maybe for a while. So I know I'm going to binge watch a very specific show. Or if I am going out, it might be like, I'm going to go get my nails done. I will set that appointment. Or maybe I'm going to the spa or to get a massage. I would have set that appointment so that it's in my calendar and it's planned out already to the point where if somebody comes to me and is like, hey sis, you want to do XYZ, I'm like,
can't move.
Oh, I can't move. And the lady at the conference, I keep saying lady, she's my profile, so I definitely know her. But she basically said like self-care should be a boulder. Self-care should be a boulder on your calendar. Boulders can't move. Like you can't move it.
Yeah.
You cannot move them, and people have to respect them because they can't be moved. And when you discuss whatever you got going on with people and they try to infiltrate, it's there. And there's no way around it. So just really being intentional about scheduling it and scheduling it as far as a day in your calendar. But also, what do you plan to do? If it's literally nothing, self-care day, do nothing. Because then when somebody still comes to you and is like, let's do, it's like, no, because this is literally counterproductive to what I said I was going to do that day.
Right. So, and when Brittany said people can't move your boulders,
you can't.
People are you too, that's yourself too.
Facts.
Do not be the people in your life
because
who are moving.
Your boundaries
you have to respect your own boundaries. And that goes back to truly loving yourself too. That goes back to respecting yourself, of being like, no, this is my boundary. You're going to respect it because you don't have no choice. Pretty much. Like, people have to respect your boundaries because they have no choice if they want to be in your life. Yeah. So I just think it's important though that we really like get back to what self-care was before it became a social media trend.
Yes.
I think it's important. I think social media has helped normalize it.
Absolutely.
Help normalize it and not equate it to certain things like almost like not attainable for the everyday person. But we have to take back the true meaning of it and really do what makes you
put
feel
some respect
good
on its name.
Okay. We ain't been rushing this whole time.
We ain't, I can't help it for so long.
But yeah, you have to. We can't just sit here and live life depleted or live life thinking we're replenishing ourselves when we're really not.
Right.
Because that's not helpful.
At the end of the day, it cannot be desensitized if we don't allow it to be.
Yeah.
That means even the gurus, and I keep harping on this. I don't know why it's in my spirit to harp on it, but even the gurus who teach you how to understand what self-care is and apply it to your life. If we are doing the work ourselves, and especially that foundational stuff, really reflecting on how we feel, understanding who we are and what our needs are, like what would make me feel better in this moment, really, truly, and authentically, then even if we were to go to or see someone who claims to specialize in this particular concept, we can't get played. You can't get played. You're not going to be able to give me some generic formula for how to do what I know I need to do for myself. And if we take back what self-care truly means and how it was created, because though it is a very worldly like concept, God rested, just like you said, God created self-care, because the big man upstairs literally was like, I'm working for 6 days, and on this last day, I got to sit down somewhere and admire my work and relish in what I've accomplished and recharge for whatever else is to come. Like, it's very foundational, and our bodies, minds, and souls need it. So it's not like you can just go without having some sort of warning, whether it be a physical like ailment or mentally you blow up at somebody because you ain't took a minute to reflect or take some time to yourself. Whatever it is, like, it's very elementary. It is an elementary concept that requires a doctorate level of effort.
I mean, it's so easy to keep going because I mean, you think about the Energizer Bunny. Keeps going. And it's kind of how we are not wired. I'm going to get to that in a second. It's what we are taught in this society. It's I can't speak for other countries. I can speak for America. In the American culture, that is what we taught. We grind, we work hard, we achieve this American dream, all this stuff. But if we were truly created in God's image and God's likeness, and he rested on the seventh day, who are we?
Who are we?
Who are we? So, it's just, don't think of rest and self-care as something that should be looked down on either. It shouldn't be something like, oh, I gotta take this rest day. I really wish I could do this. Don't feel guilty about it. No, it is what you need to live. To be honest, to live the best life you can, you have to be well rested, well taken care of.
Absolutely.
And it's your duty to yourself to do that.
Okay, y'all. Come on, church. Come on, church. So you guys have an assignment.
Yes. So let us know in the comments if you've completed it. DM us, message us on Instagram. We will definitely respond. I would love to continue the conversation. If you need resources, let us know. We can provide some resources as well to help you really figure out what it's like for you to experience a day of true replenishing. So you can live your best life.
All right, y'all.
Well, thank you for listening to another episode of the Sisterhood Debrief, where we discuss all things
sisterly,
godly,
and ratchet.
Bye, y'all.